BBLI Media presents Mostly Speakers. Thanks for joining me today down in the basement. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at the inside of one of my Altec Lansing 288C horns. There is a reason that I need to take these apart because there is some pretty bad distortion coming from both horns. These horns were originally installed in a church in 1947 or 1948. I believe these were in service through the 1980s when a custom-built PA cabinet replaced them. This cabinet was hung 30 feet in the air and was recently replaced with a full-size JBL line array. Anyway, these horns are now at least 67 years old, so it is time they get some TLC. At the least, they may have some debris in the voice coil gap. Worst case, I will have to order replacement diaphragms. So what I'm going to do is set my second horn on my table and we will begin. I'm going to remove the diaphragm and clean the voice coil gap, and hopefully that will mitigate the problem. At the moment, I only use one horn, so if one of them dies on the operating table, I still have the other one that I will leave untouched. However, if cleaning it works, then I will repeat the process on the other one. Let's begin. Looking at this horn driver, I can see there's a really thick layer of dirt right where the gap is, right around the edge of the cover here for the voice coil. These were designed to be easily field replaceable. So that means there are only 2 screws holding the diaphragm assembly on the back of the horn driver. I'm going to try to remove this for the first time in, I believe, 67 years. Very nice, a number 8 machine screw. I'm very happy with that, although someone may have been in these before. Those were not overly tight. Alright, it's time for the moment of truth. Let's pull this off. Okay, that was way easier than I was expecting to get into this. I got my nose a little close to it there, and these smell like burnt enamel, so these voice coils might be cooked. Well, we'll unscrew it and see what we find. So here's my theory on this. The way this horn was set up in this facility, when it was put in 1947, this was the entire PA system. There was no bass cabinets in this church at all. It was just these 2 horns. And these horns are rated to 500 cycles or 500 hertz. My suspicion is that these were actually run full range, and they were fed the entire audio band. All right, here we go. So there is the underside of the diaphragm. It does look very solid. It doesn't look extremely fragile. I was expecting it to be original and like super delicate, like if I touch it, it would shatter. But this actually has some firmness to it. There's a stamped on number here, 391718. Now I have no idea what that means. Here's another printing on it. AL, does it say 48? So 48? If that says 48, is it possible this is an original 1948 diaphragm? I don't really know. This thing sure feels way too new for that though. I don't know. If you know anything about these, let me know in the comments. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and clean this voice coil gap out real good. What I'm going to use is some sticky tape and my vacuum cleaner, and then vacuum out this gap and try to get any sorts of dirt out of it. So I took the vacuum cleaner to this and removed a lot of the dust, and then wipe it down again with a cloth later. Just taking a look inside this voice coil gap. We get an extra light here. You can actually see there's a tiny little burr right there. And I think there might be one other one on inside that voice coil gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to
take my knife and just carefully trim that off. And then I'm going to run some double-sided tape all the way around that gap so that it should be clean and free of debris. Okay, this is about as clean as it's going to get, so I'm going to put this all back together. And then I'm going to test it out, see what happens. Okay, everything has been tightened back down and snugged. I definitely don't want to over tighten it because I think this actually might be original Bakelite. If this is an original driver, this ring is actually made of Bakelite, and it is starting to crack at each screw location. Okay, that's it. This driver is ready to be tested. I have this cleaned up horn driver in place in my home theater setup, and I have it set currently so that only the horn is operating. I'm going to play some music from the YouTube audio library, which is emphasizing the treble music. So let's see if this still distorts or if it sounds crystal clear like it should. That is going to conclude this repair video on my Altec 288C. I think this was a success. Just by cleaning out the dust in the voice coil gap reduces the noticeable distortion. I will keep my ear to it, however, if these voice coils heat up as they are used for watching movies or whatever, and they start to distort when they are warm, then I'll have to consider ordering replacements. So I'm also going to do this exact same procedure to the other Altec horn that I have, so that I have both of them are cleaned up and ready to go, but I'm not going to show that on camera. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it somewhat useful and interesting. If you did, please like the video and leave me a comment down below. I would appreciate that. And thanks for watching.